academicians, and various associations, taxpayers, investors, parents. So it's a great opportunity on behalf of Kaveri College to host this event in association with SkillSlate Foundation. Thank you once again to all the academic partners joining hands to this noble thought and of course the event organization. We are privileged to have today our dignitaries includes Dr. Narayan Hegde sir, Vice President Kannada Sangha. He is the chief guest of this today's national level event. We have with us Shri Chandrasekhar Tilak sir. He had worked in the capacity of Chief Risk Officer and Executive Vice President at NSDL E-Governance Infrastructure Limited. We have with us Ameya Agrawal, founder SkillSlate Foundation Pune. Our principal, Dr. Ashok Agrawal, and our vice principal, Dr. Mukta Karmarkar. I am happy to also welcome our honorable trustee, Sudhakar Rao sir. Welcome to all of you. And sir, thanks to Tilak sir for giving us this opportunity. This is an auspicious day. Ganesh Janma आज आहे आणि इष्टदेवतेचं आपण स्मरण मनन चिंतन करून हा कार्यक्रमाचा शुभारंभ करतोय. And thank you for all the blessings coming from Kannada Sangha, all our participants and different institutions and associations. Thank you once again. May I please take this opportunity to introduce our today's chief guest, Narayan Hegde sir, and also Chandrasekhar Tilak sir. Dr. Narayan Hegde, Vice President Kannada Sangha Pune. He is also Principal Advisor and Managing Trustee, BAIF Development Research Foundation. He specializes in the area of natural resource management, sustainable livelihood and community development, environmental education, and conservation and organizational development. He is associated with several organizations and government bodies at the center and the state level. Sir has been bestowed with various awards and fellowships at the national and international level for his outstanding achievements and contribution. Sir, we are really privileged to have you and looking forward to listen through your address. We kindly virtually felicitate the today's chief guest, Dr. Narayan Hegde sir.
Welcome, sir.
I take the opportunity and honor to introduce our today's keynote speaker, Shri Chandrasekhar Tilak sir. He retired in May 2020 after 22 years of working with National Securities Depository Limited. He worked in a capacity of Chief Risk Officer and Executive Vice President at NSDL E-Governance Infrastructure Limited. He have handled various activities related to National Pension Scheme, NPS, like implementation of NPS in all state government as well as union territories, including more than 1,600 SABs, implementation of Atal Pension Yojana. It was a mega work, and Swavalamban covering more than 3 crore subscribers out of 3.75 crore subscribers. He has been associated with CMMI certification, CRFC inspection and coordination, call center coordination, stock exchange settlement, surveillance, participant interface, so on and so forth. Sir, as a vice president, he looked after trading and depository operations, Securities Exchange of Board of India. And as a division chief investigation, he was the youngest division chief at the Bombay Stock Exchange. And in the year from 1988 till 1995, he deputed to SEBI, the only officer sent on deputation from any of the recognized stock exchanges. He has been youngest officer who sent on deputation, earlier associated with accounts and finance division of 2 separate companies, namely ICIM and Blue Star Limited during April 1980 to 88. Sir has authored more than 25 books in the domain of finance, and he has also bestowed with more than 11 awards. Mentioning few here is Dr. R.P. Parnekar Economic Award, Udyam Kaustubh Award, then Tejas Puraskar, Swami Vivekananda Puraskar, so on and so forth. He is delivering lectures on annual budgets presented by central government since 1988 and several talks on relevant economic and financial topics from time to time. He delivered more than 4,500 lectures on economic and investment topics, participated in various investment seminars conducted on radio and TV programs. He is also guest faculty for many reputed institutes pan-India. Sir has, to his credit, more than 2,600 articles and he's conducting online investment training programs continuously. Today, as a part of this national level post-budget talk, sir, we are so happy to have you here. And I'm sure that these participants in this number 444 are looking forward. And there are many students also joined on YouTube Live. And it is going to be the great session for all the students who want to have major takeaways from this budget 2022. Without much ado, may I please request Ameya Agrawal sir to kindly just welcome the participants, and later I would like to request our sir also to address the participants. Ameya sir, over to you, please.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I would like to welcome all the participants once again. It has been a great number. We can see on the screen that around 450 participants have joined on the Zoom, and around 16 to 20 participants are in the waiting room, which whom we will be bringing on the session with us. And more than 50 participants have joined on the YouTube as well. So I think 500 plus participants will be taking the benefit of the sir's experience and the experience of the dignitaries to understand how the budget affects the entire ecosystem, be it for entrepreneurs, be it for students, be it for professionals, or be it as a human being, as a citizens of this country in general. So again, I would like to welcome all the participants and the guest. This is, by the way, Ameya Agrawal. I'm the founder of SkillSlate Foundation. Our NGO strives to make these kind of opportunities accessible, because I think many of you must have heard Chandrasekhar Tilakji in the past, but sir always seemed out of bounds for us, because he always used to be on high profile television shows or talking with the ministers and the people at the top end. But somehow, along with the Kaveri College, we have been able to bring him to you all, so that you can interact with sir directly in a one-on-one conversation towards the end of the session. So this is what SkillSlate aims to do, to make education opportunities and skills accessible to all. And I would again like to thank Kaveri College for being a good shareholder in our efforts in doing this and enabling our vision for everyone. We have been associating with various private universities, central universities, colleges, and professional worlds, and have trained around 25,000 plus people in the past 2 years. And with the support of you all, we will be continuing to doing so. And again, thank you so much. Without taking much time, I hand over the session to Deepa ma'am to take it further. And all the best participants, we feel free to ask any kind of questions towards the end. Sir is all yours today, I must say. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Mr. Ameya, and hearty congratulations for crossing more than 20,000 participants and training them on various topics from the education till placement. I take this opportunity to welcome Ashok Agrawal sir, our principal, and I will request him to kindly address the participant.
Namaskar, good morning. Our Vice President, Mr. Narayanji Hegde, in chair. Our guest, our trustee, Mr. Sudhakar Raoji, and today's attraction. I take this as one privilege from today's guest to call him as Shekhar, as our best friend, Mr. Chandrasekhar Tilak. All the participants coming from across India, representing student community, professional community, taxpayer, tax associations, and even government officers. Many of our participants are from other countries also. And I welcome all of you in the family of Kaveri. Friends, I would like to very brief introduction regarding Kaveri College. Kaveri Group of Institutions is making a remarkable contribution in the field of education since last 60 years. Kaveri College is established in 2005, one of the youngest colleges in Pune. And I'm happy to mention that today Kaveri College is not only the best college in Pune University, but it is the unique college in university. It is the only choice of students who are accredited by NAAC, We are registered under Section 2F and 12B of University Grant Commissions Act, and very well established, well planned efforts we do for holistic development of the students. Our vision is developing holistic development of youth to make them responsible, proactive citizens of tomorrow. That is the aim. With this view, we are conducting a number of activities through various forums. During pandemic also, we are able to reach thousands of students through virtual platform. And for all these our efforts, the support from our management, the support from our trustees, the support from our students and their parents is amazing, simply amazing. And many institutions, we have good collaboration with many institutions like Maharashtra Chamber, Maratha Chamber, CDSL, NSDL, MTC Global, Entrepreneurship Grid, Dhaka International University, and so on. During last 2 months, we have conducted various activities on national platform, National Science Fest, National Tech Fest, National Business Fest, National Lecture Series on Commerce. And Tilakji, गेल्या 2 महिन्यात कमीत कमी 10,000 पार्टिसिपंट्स कावेरी प्लॅटफॉर्मवर आपण त्यांना डेव्हलप करण्याचा प्रयत्न केलेला आहे. And in all these activities, we have good support from our academic partner like MTC Global. Many of you might be knowing regarding MTC Global. MTC Global, Naranji, MTC Global is the platform of 30,000 plus management professional across globe. And MTC Global is partner for this event also. Entrepreneurship Grid doing excellent work for entrepreneurship development. Entrepreneurship Grid is an academic partner for these all events. And SkillSlate, the youngster social entrepreneur trying to make skill and education accessible and affordable, Mr. Ameya Agrawal, SkillSlate. This type of people are always with us because they trust that Kaveri is devoted for holistic development of the students, and with their support only we can do this. Shekhar ji, आपका स्वागत है, and I congratulate you for continuous 34 years of your contribution on budget. And today Palkhiwala might be very happy in heaven that you are making his dream fulfill. You are contributing for making his dream fulfill for awareness regarding finance. Welcome all of you. And as चंद्रशेखर जी बहुत बार बोलते हैं, मराठी मध्ये माझी दाढ कठीण आहे, द्वाड आहे, and many times his prediction are materialized. Many times we ask him whether there is any collaboration of Chandrasekhar, our finance minister, every time, how your all the predictions or all the insight are materialized. So that is the study of Chandrasekhar here. I request all the participants, please be free to ask your question, particularly the student participant. Listen, how does Chandrasekhar delivers his lecture? That is more important than the economics and the budget also. His delivery, his presentation is excellent. I welcome all of you. Welcome Narayan ji, welcome Sudhakar Rao ji, welcome all my colleagues from Kaveri College and other colleges. Welcome. Thank you. Over to Deepa.
Thank you, sir, for your kind words and encouragement to all the participants. May I please request our chief guest for the today's program, Dr. Narayan Hegde Sarji, to kindly address the students.
Sir, please unmute yourself. दीपा मॅम त्यांना अनम्यूट करा.
Yeah. Mr. Ameya, can you just check?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, done.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah.
You are audible, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, sir. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chandrasekhar Tilak, Professor Agrawal, and all the Sudhakar Rao and the learned faculty and the delegates and participants. It's a great privilege for me to be here today at the August gathering of a very important budget session organized by Kaveri group of institutions, Kaveri College, under the dynamic leadership of Professor Ashok Agrawal. I feel also privileged to have Mr. Chandrasekhar Tilak on an important topic. As you could hear, Mr. Tilak is a wizard, financial wizard. It's a very rare commodity. Probably, if he was in America, he was one of the top-rated 5%, earners in the country, because the finance is a very important topic for progress, and within finance, stock market is an excellent, area for prospering and understanding. Finance is the backbone of the nation, and stock market is the barometer of the national economy and GDP. And this year, I was extremely happy that the economists and even the critics have praised the budget for the year 2022, particularly because of the vision of the Finance Minister, Srimati Nirmala Sitharaman. She has set, trend for the next 25 years. That's what they say. There has been huge investment, almost significant 35% on the capital investment, and important future sectors like energy, solar energy, and so on. And having heard from the finance minister, it's very important for us to know the in between the lines critic and the opportunities from Mr. Tilak, a person like his eminence. And I'm sure the listeners, particularly our students from the Kaveri College, will be benefited, because this is an opportunity. Probably this is the day when some of you may turn your life into a finance wizard listening to him. And I hope we will have best benefit of Mr. Tilak's advice and analysis today. I compliment Professor Agrawal for inviting such eminent person. If necessary, we should request him to come and have one more session for our students in the future, because Kaveri, we are looking for dynamic future for our bright young students. And these are the opportunities. These are the people, role models like Mr. Tilak, who can become turning point in the career of our students. So with that, without taking too much of time, I once again welcome you all. I also compliment Shri Chandrasekhar Tilak for having accepted our invitation, and wish you all the best. And I hope our seminar will be grand success. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. You have been always a great support to Kaveri College in conducting various seminars and workshops. And sir, thank you so much for sharing your insights on budget. Thank you, sir. May I please request our today's keynote speaker, Chandrasekhar Tilakji, sir, to kindly start the session.
Good morning to all of you. I'm really thankful to Dr. Narayan Hegde sir, Dr. Sudhakar Rao sir, Dr. Ashok Agrawal sir, Dr. Mukta Karmarkar madam, Dr. Deepa Sathe madam, as well as Ameya Agrawal and other faculty members and the brand partners or the education partners, as far as this particular seminar is concerned, for giving me this particular opportunity to express my views before such a huge gathering. As Ameya Agrawal from the SkillSlate, being a partner of this particular program, while welcoming all of us, has said that I am seeing that as far as our chat boxes are concerned, more than 442 participants have joined so far. I have been conducting the online sessions for last 21 months. And let me unabashedly say that this is the highest ever of number I have witnessed as far as my sessions are concerned, which I'm conducting on online. Really kudos to you all. And let me try my level best to meet your expectations, because already Dr. Ashok Agrawal sir has told you many things about me. Now it is up to me to live up to that particular expectation. I will try my level best, because as Professor Dr. Deepa Satya Madam has said, that we are really meeting on an auspicious day. Today happens to be a Maghi Ganeshotsav. And probably being my surname being Tilak, I am tempted to recall that Ganeshotsav does hold a very good position as far as our site is concerned. But besides that, Ganesh happens to be the goddess or a god of education and learning as well. And as just now Dr. Narayan Hegde sir said, that this particular budget is an harbinger as far as next 25 years are concerned. It is not merely a political statement, but that probably seems to be a mission statement. And that mission statement is not only for the government, but it is equally for all of us. And that's why, as he has expressed his desire, let me tell him and all the participants over here that now I am a retired person since May 2020. So my hectic schedule is past. And as and when you need me at any mutually convenient time, I would certainly love to conduct such sessions, certainly for Kaveri as well as SkillSlate, as well as for many other participants who are joining this particular program from the various institutes as well as the various locations. Coming to the topic proper for today's discussions, that Budget 2022, which has been presented by our Honorable Finance Minister, Nirmala Sitharaman, on 1st of February 2022, we are meeting on 4th of February. And in today's era of a social media, print media, and electronic media working overnight, I'm damn sure that there is no separate need as far as going through the specific provisions of the budget speech ad verbum or adverbum as far as this gathering is concerned. And with your kind permission, I would like to concentrate more on the points or topics which has not been covered by a print media or electronic media so far. Because there are various new things which has come up as far as this particular budget is concerned. I have visited rather the Kaveri campus in the past in person. So I'm very much aware what sort of an institute is that. And when you are joining the initiative, being initiated by Kaveri College, I'm very much aware what kind of the persons I'm speaking to. And under such circumstances, let me make certain conceptual facilities upfront, because those conceptual clarities are badly needed. As Dr. Ashok Agrawal sir has said that this happens to be my 35th consecutive year as far as the budget analysis is concerned. So in this year of 2022, I'm equaling the record of late Mr. Nani Palkhiwala as far as 35 years of a budget analysis is concerned. It is no way myself comparing with the late Nani Palkhiwala. Even if I take 100 more births, I will not be even able to touch its feet. That's not a case to say. But only thing is that I have been fortunate enough to be at the right place at the right time. And that's why probably might have propelled me to make certain foresees, and they came true. And I can say proudly, you may call me ahammanya or egoist, but during last 35 years, more than 98% of my predictions or deliberations, whether pre-budget or a post-budget, have come true. It is probably because I had started my career as a computer programmer way back in 1980. And I have honed my skills in a capital market, more being an investigation officer. You would have noticed that when I was getting introduced to all of you, they said about my professional career, but they have not even dared to make a mention as far as my educational qualifications are concerned. Wherefrom they would say that? Because I have not mentioned it in my biodata, which I have submitted to them, because they are not worth mentioning. As I always say in a lighter vein, that I have not learned my capital market from a degree, nor I have learned the capital market by my investing or wasting money in it, because many people do lose it. But I have learned it from two big gurus, without paying any Guru Dakshina to him. Probably that's the correct way of a budget or Artha Sankalpa as far as my professional career in investment is concerned. And those two gurus, where we call them the fraudsters, and I was their investigation officer, and that way they were Harshad Mehta and Ketan Parekh. Jokes apart, this was just a testing ground as far as the pitch on my own pitch of voice, as well as our compatibility is concerned. But certainly, these practical aspects need to be placed into. If you would have noticed, if any particular provision which has carried really the biggest attraction or attention as far as this budget 2022 is concerned, is that Reserve Bank of India is going to launch a digital rupee in a financial year 2022-2023 with the help of a blockchain system. I'm confining myself to the concept of a budget 2022 or a subject of 2022 as far as this session is concerned. But right at the outset, I would certainly suggest to Kaveri as well as SkillSlate and other educational partners thereof that there is a need to conduct two separate sessions on the topics, and that too in a near future, on the topics like a cryptocurrency, a bitcoins, and another would be how they are getting traded. Because unfortunately, since that particular announcement in the budget that Reserve Bank of India would be launching a digital rupee, that is being termed in our print media, social media, that it is a type of a Bitcoin and a cryptocurrency. As I am addressing in this particular session across the wide spectrum of people, their age group, in their income group, and their background group, let me take this opportunity and spend some time on this concept of a digital rupee. And I'm drawing over here from my experience. Whether you support a particular government or not, whether you support a particular political party or not, for God's sake, after all, we are proud citizens. We do feel for our country. We do feel for our systems, and that too positively and patriotically. Leave aside a political color. It's a question of a national interest. So with folded hands, I'm earnestly requesting all of you, please henceforth, never say that digital rupee being launched is a cryptocurrency or a Bitcoin. It is not. It is not. Digital rupee is a currency being floated by a recognized, world-reputed regulator as well as a central bank named Reserve Bank of India, which has come into existence after being passed by the Parliament law. And this particular concept of a digital rupee is being implemented by, is going to be implemented by Reserve Bank of India on the directions, instructions, and suggestions of an elected government of a sovereign nation like others. It is not a cryptocurrency. It is not a Bitcoin. Cryptocurrency and Bitcoin is not an official currency of any country. It is not being floated by any of the government or any of the bank, Central Bank of India of any particular country officially. It is completely a private creation. And under such circumstances, you would have read into the newspapers in the past as well as in current day week that we have very clearly said that I am not going to introduce or recognize a cryptocurrency or a Bitcoin in our country, at least in near future. Under such circumstances, when we are terming that our digital rupee, which is going to be launched, will be a cryptocurrency or a Bitcoin of our country, we are insulting our own currency. We are insulting our own reputed financial regulatory institution. And most importantly, we are insulting a sovereign government of a sovereign state. We may not agree, or we may agree with the political color of a dispensation which is being ruling us at this juncture, out of which this particular budget 2022 has emanated. But being a student and an LLM in a corporate law, let me tell you, in today's active jurisprudence days, if someone takes someone for calling a digital rupee a Bitcoin or a cryptocurrency to the court, saying that it is the defamation of a rupee, let me tell you, it is an admissible offense. So not only from legality, But even from the financiality, digital rupee is not a cryptocurrency. And this particular topic I raised upfront only because, not to warn you, but it is not merely a change of a currency or a substitution of a currency or a supplementary currency, but it is going to open a new vista altogether. Probably that would be a topic which will engage the minds and times of all the finance professionals, whether they are the professors or the practitioners. And most importantly, across the age group, across the skill slates, this concept of a digital rupee as and when getting implemented would open completely a new vista. And knowing the prowess of a Kaveri College as well as the SkillSlate being two organizers of this event, I really see that if we are able to take our students and persons so interested in this topic along, we will be doing a yeoman service. It would be a one step towards achieving the concept of a 5 trillion economy. And under such circumstances, with the kind permission of both the organizers as well as all the more than 500 participants taken together of the Zoom meeting as well as the live YouTube channels, let us spend some time to understand the concept of a cryptocurrency and Bitcoin and how it is different from a digital rupee getting launched. Because in my life, I have witnessed 3 transformations, and I'm going to heavily draw from that experience because it needs to be told upfront. If any one of you have seen me on a budget day on the Marathi channel ABP Maza, in a post-budget session, I have dealt in this concept in concisely or briefly, but I'm going to expand it much further as far as this topic is concerned. Because once this particular digital rupee gets launched and gets utilized too extensively, then certainly my entire financial payment system may undergo a change. I'm using the word may, and I was trying to emphasize it when I was talking to you. Grammatically, I do know that may includes may not. And I'm using the word may only because it is yet to be launched. There is every likelihood that government has said in a budget speech or a finance minister has said in a 90-minute long budget speech that a digital rupee would get implemented in the calendar year, in the financial year 2022-2023. She might have said that Reserve Bank of India would be launching such a digital rupee with the help of a blockchain kind of a system. There is every likelihood that instead of utilizing a blockchain system, government may use some kind of other machinery. Because as I'm coming from a background of a 22 years of service in NSDL, which happens to be one of the topmost 5 utilizers or the users of network, hardware, and software in the world, not only in the country, and I have started my career as a computer programmer with ICIL in UK, albeit 40 years back, but I do know this particular thing. And blockchain system is supposed to be tech savvy, computer and network intensive, and most importantly, energy intensive. And today's is the era where generally we go for energy and technology saving speeds. So under such circumstances, Reserve Bank of India may decide to use a system other than blockchain. Is it one opportunity for all of us to look at it, this event, that if it really comes into a reality, we some willy-nilly, at least to some extent, must get conversant with what is this blockchain kind of a scenario. Another topic for discussion, but I'm not going to do it today. Another thing would be, Reserve Bank may not be able to use or implement this digital rupee in this coming financial year because her hands may be tied up with something else. I'm not underestimating the power of a Reserve Bank of India. I'm not underestimating the power of a central government of India. But implementation of a digital rupee is much more different and difficult than introduction of a Bitcoin and a cryptocurrency. We are consistently using both the words together, Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. I'm harping on a point how digital rupee is different than Bitcoin and a cryptocurrency. Let me be very clear that Bitcoin happens to be one kind of a cryptocurrency. Bitcoin is not the only cryptocurrency available. Just to give a simile or an example, that all of us are used to the life insurance policies. And LIC in our country dominates the life insurance business to a great extent. So even the young professionals, because before I was leading a team of 250 persons engaged in 11 different and distinct activities. And as many of you may be aware, that 95% of NSDL staff is basically an engineer MBA from the reputed institutes of our country or even abroad. And many of them, even they used to tell me in the months of Jan and Feb, so tomorrow I may be a bit late because during that particular phase, we were not that much online as we are nowadays. So I will be visiting the ICICI office in order to buy a LIC policy from ICICI Prudential. Being an engineer MBA, I used to smile at myself and then subsequently tell him, boss, ICICI Prudential doesn't sell a LIC policy. They sell a life insurance policy. But we have synonymously said LIC is a life insurance because he dominates or LIC dominates or contributes more than 72% of my life insurance business. Same thing is true for a Bitcoin. Bitcoin is one of the cryptocurrency, but it dominates a cryptocurrency market. More than 69% of our global turnover in cryptocurrency is in Bitcoin. That means Bitcoin is one of a cryptocurrency. Bitcoin is not different than a cryptocurrency. And this particular topic has come into it. Just let us try to understand why this particular topic of a Bitcoin or a cryptocurrency has come into vogue. Yes, there are certain advantages in it, but I do not know how many of you are aware how that particular Bitcoin or a cryptocurrency, henceforth I will not be using the word Bitcoin, I will be only talking in a cryptocurrency term, not only to save the time, but also to save my vocal cords. But jokes apart, let us try to understand how this cryptocurrency come into existence. All of us are quite aware that there are 62 bytes. So 62 multiplied by 61 multiplied by thousands of JCL advanced technologies, by any permutation combination, a cryptocurrency can come into existence. Just to give an example, that if I'm able to convince any one of you, say for sake of example, Dr. Deepa Sathe madam, that I am a reliable person. And if I'm able to convince her, madam, both of us will come together, given my computer prowess, given my so-called financial prowess, as Dr. Ashok Agarwal sir has kindly mentioned, I will create one particular currency, that too in a virtual form, because cryptocurrency is always in a virtual form. No one has seen what sort of a note it prints. But digital rupee, although it's a virtual form, it is not generated like this. So from that angle, we need to understand. So if I'm able to convince Deepa Sathe madam that I'm a reliable person, and even otherwise Sathe would have to believe it, because my wife's maiden name is Sathe. So I'm a son-in-law of Sathe. So they have to believe the son-in-law as far as our culture is concerned. But jokes apart, if I'm able to tell her that given my prowess, I will create something, kindly accept it as far as the mutual payment between you and I is concerned. If these particular things go ahead, then I will say if I'm buying something subsequently, I would be accepting it from you. And then that currency can come into existence. That currency can come into the circulation between me and Deepa Sathe madam. Seeing the benefits or otherwise thereof, if I'm able to convince my known friends out of 450, or she is able to do it without any government coming into play, at least among those close user group, to use your language, CUG, a cryptocurrency can be done. As such, it is always said that cryptocurrency comes out of a thin air, more from the computer rather than from the economy. Digital rupee doesn't have any of these fallacies. Point number one. Point number two. As I said earlier, digital rupee is an official currency. Cryptocurrency is not an official currency. Whether it is a digital form or in a physical form of the currency notes which we are carrying, Reserve Bank has withstood a guarantee. They have given you a guarantee that I assure you, till the time I'm withdrawing it from the system, as we have withdrawn 500 rupees note and 1000 rupees note in a demonetization process, till the time any currency denominated value is being withdrawn from the system, I stand by the time the note exists in circulation legally. Until the time you exist and RBI exists, RBI will ensure that that note stands and carries that value. No one has given such guarantee for a cryptocurrency. A value of a cryptocurrency is decided in an unofficial market, whereas a rupee value is decided by a RBI at the time of creating it. How much worth I will be able to buy depends on the inflation rate, but 500 remains 500. Whether out of those 500 rupees I am able to buy 1 kg of vegetable or 100 kgs of vegetable would depend on a prevailing market price of that good. But 500 rupee means 500 rupees. That doesn't mean or convey by a cryptocurrency. Point number one. And that's why I said right at the outset, please, for God's sake, whatever may be my political color, whatever may be my social color, please don't make a mistake of calling digital rupee a cryptocurrency. It's not only a legal offense, it's not only an social offensive, but it is financial offensive. Because a value of a same set of artificial currency in the nature of a cryptocurrency may be 100 today, maybe 1000 tomorrow, or maybe even 1 day after tomorrow. That doesn't happen, and that is not going to happen with a digital. Point number one. Then what sort of digital rupee is this? Let me be very clear. And over here, the education opportunities and employment opportunities lie. And that's why I said that I'm going to draw heavily from my experience of a conversion or a substitution. In my professional life, I had been witness to 3 different transformations. If you don't mind, just let me elaborate on that, and then I will be extrapolating it to an evolution of a digital rupee in our country, a likely evolution of a digital rupee in our country. And at every point, I would like to point out what sort of employment and education opportunity lies for all of us. Because willy-nilly, we have termed this particular debate or a discussion or a title of this session as what I can draw from this particular. As we say in a capital market, money issue. If any one of you is having a Gujarati as a mother tongue, then you would have realized the meaning of money issue. Money issue means what I will get out of. I have studied in Mulund College of Commerce, and I had cut my teeth in capital market in Bombay Stock Exchange. So I know Gujarati like anything. For of late, I speak only in Marathi, Hindi, English. But once upon a time, along with Marathi, Hindi, and English, I used to also conduct the sessions in Gujarati and Urdu. And that's why money issue, I know it very well. And even otherwise, all of us by instinct know what money issue. I will get. Okay. When I joined ICL UK, I started my employment. At that time, we were selling the computers to everybody. But ICL UK's own record and ICIM, their Indian subsidiary, their own records were not computerized. Given my commerce post-graduation, completed just computer programming, and fantastic age of 21, 22, 23, I was associated with that. At that time, physical accounts and computerized accounts coexisted. When I joined Bombay Stock Exchange in 1988, it was completely a floor-based trading. I'm running 62 years. On 26th of May, so hardly 3 months down the line, I will be completing 62 years of my age. So if any one of you is around that particular age, we would recall those floor-based trading thing. And if any one of you have seen that web series available on Netflix based on Harshad Mehta, or a movie on Harshad Mehta where Abhishek Bachchan has acted, over there you have seen the glimpses of a floor-based trading. But then subsequently we converted it to a computer-based trading or a screen-based trading as it is popularly called. So even I have witnessed that particular experience of a transformation. And when I joined NSDL in 1998, we were in the process of converting a physical share certificate into a dematerialized share certificate. So based on these 3 conversions, I'm saying digital rupee is like that. I'm not changing the underlying asset class. I'm not changing the underlying asset value. I am merely changing the format of holding. Earlier, I was holding my currency or a share certificate in a physical form. After the advent of a depositories in our country, both the depositories, NSDL and CDS, they have done a Yemen service. Just because I have been associated, I was rather associated, or I had been associated with NSDL for 22 years, I can't underestimate. Because any financial product is always a collective, cumulative, sovereign effort. Cryptocurrency is a mutual effort. And there is a difference between collective and mutual. If any one of you know Sanskrit, then Sanskrit is such a language that they are having three vachanas, ekavachan, dvivachan, and bahuvachan, whereas all other languages are only ekvachan or bahuvachan. So cryptocurrency is basically a dvivachan currency, whereas any formal currency is always a bahuvachan currency. Usages, users, and to use a computer programmer, dvivachan currency is an encrypted currency. Bahuvachan currency is an open currency. And if it is a currency, it has to be open. Why we are looking at suspicion with the Chinese economy? Because their currency is a pegged currency. Government decides the value. So it's a dvivachan currency, although it's a regulator, because currency and the issuer only knows what's the price they're into. But in bahuvachan currency, everyone knows it. As I said, the purchasability or a purchase quotient may vary from inflation to inflation, but 500 remains 500. And that's why it is a bahuvachan currency. When I'm converting my rupee from rupee to a dollar, the price gets decided by supply and demand for a rupee demand a dollar at that point of time. That is not the case in a cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency is like a share in the equity market. This is the difference. And this needs to be known very well. So what is going to happen? And based on my experience, I'm telling you that whenever any such new thing comes into place, first you have to sell a concept. Because in any financial product, we are not only having a monetary interest, but we are also emotionally involved. Same thing is going to happen. Same thing is going to happen in when the rupee value or a denominated value or a rupee or a digital rupee gets implemented. I will give an example. Persons who are attending this seminar and more than 55 years of their age, it's not that we are not using credit card. It's not that we are not using debit card. It's not that we are using GPay. We are not using GP, Google Pay. It's not that we are not using Phone Pay. But to be honest, no one has told us. But by inhibition, we feel that these kinds of instruments can be used only when there is certain amount to be expended upon. If I'm traveling by an auto and I have to pay 20 rupees, a younger generation can very well scan his Google Pay and transfer. But for me, I will take out my wallet. The same thing is going to happen to a digital rupee. I will just forget because I can use a digital rupee. Point number one. So first you have to sell. And over here, the emotions come into play. Because people of my generation, for whom basically digital rupee is going to be launched in initial phases, that point I will be covering later, we are inhabited. So we need that. मेरी आंखों से देखा भाई है. मेरी आंखों से देखा भाई है. I will tell you the example. When I was working with NSDL, when I started working with NSDL, given my prowess that I can speak Gujarati as well as Urdu, in a marketing exercise in certain parts of our country, I used to conduct a marketing exercise for my company, although I was not heading a marketing division. In one of Gujarat-based location, I was conducting a seminar in 1999, early 1999. An elderly Parsi gentleman who was known to me from my earlier employment was attending that conference. After I made my presentation in chaste Gujarati, he stood up and said that, "Sir Tilak, I believe you because you have worked under me. He was senior to me in age as well as in designation, knowledge and money as well. But can you do one thing? I said, what? He said, I will give the shares for dematerialized. I will convert my holding from equity to, physical certificate to dematerialized share certificate. But after you have given a demat credit to me, you should return back my physical certificate. I asked that person why you wanted that. Because it would be defaced, because unless and until it is defaced, it cannot be dematerialized. And once it is defaced, then it is of no use to you. And that elderly person told me, look, Shekhar, I am holding this share certificate. All these are Tata companies. Yes, I'm holding that for capital appreciation. Yes, I'm holding it for dividend, which I get. But to be honest, I'm equally holding that share certificate. I'm involved in that. I said, sir, that particular benefit would continue, even if you continue hold it in demat. He said, no, one benefit will not continue. I said, what? Which benefit? He said, boss, in a physical share certificate, those share certificates are signed by JRD Tata. I need that signature and filling. Boss, when we are seeing that rupee, my generation gets the same feeling. We are least bothered who is a RBI governor and being who has signed that as an RBI governor. We are least bothered whether it is carrying a photograph of anyone or somebody else. But unless and until I touch it by my hand, I'm not ready to believe it. Is it a fantastic exercise of marketing a digital rupee? Persons, if any one of you is going to be a management student pursuing your MBA in marketing, MBA in HR, MBA in finance, are you going to be a separate practitioner? Because I'm told that there are many parents who are attending. There are many professors who are attending. There are many students who are not only undergraduate, but pursuing their postgraduate and management degrees are attending this seminar. And by the time these undergraduate students would be migrating to a professional field, digital rupee would have become a reality in my country. So leave aside whether it's a cryptocurrency or not. Let me see the concept, because after all, it's a money issue. The title of my station is what I can take. This opportunity of employment as well as this opportunity to have a separate instrument needs to be known. It is not the only thing which needs to be done. See, you would have seen that not only digital rupee is being talked about in this budget, although in her 90-minute speech, Sitharamanji has not connected these points or these dots, but a running theme of this budget 2022 is digital India, digitization, digital banking. And unless and until it is in place, a digital rupee cannot be in place. And at this juncture, we do not know how much time it will take. I'm not joking. If any one of you are professional, you would agree with me. There was nothing wrong in a concept of a GST. But even now we are facing some problems in implementation of GST. I'm not saying so. Rather, I have experienced it. But I'm not the only person who is saying so. In fact, in her budget speech, Nirmala Sitharamanji, even in this 1st of February 2022 budget speech, she has said that although we have collected more than 1,48,000 crores of rupees as a monthly collection for the month of January 2022, which happens to be the highest as far as the GST history is concerned, I'm very much aware that there are certain, our GST has been implemented. It has grown in our country by leaps and bounds. But even then, I'm very much aware that there are certain problems even now. Why it is so? Because various agencies are involved as far as the implementation of GST is concerned. Not only the central government, not only the state government, not only the producer, but even a supplier, even a vendor. So more than 2 crore vendors who are involved, they need to study into the system. Same thing is going to happen with the digital rupee. Just take an example, starting with the banking. Because even if you are an undergraduate student, I'm very much aware how many faculties are, in how many ways you are able to do your commerce degree. It's not a singular course now. That was the case when I passed out my BCom in 1980. Now you can have a specialization. So if I'm opening a bank account, nowadays there is only a single currency, rupee, in a physical form. Even if I deposit a foreign currency check, when it gets debited to my account or credited to my account as I'm depositing, when I'm depositing a foreign currency check in my account, and when that proceeds are getting credited into my account, they are in rupee, they are not in US dollar. My passbook doesn't say that 5,000 rupees as the balance and then 5,000 US dollar. No, those 5,000 US dollar gets converted at a prevailing rate in my account and I get a rupee balance. But once a digital rupee is introduced, probably in the same bank account, I can hold both the currencies, paper currency and a digital currency. So paper currency would get reflected in my bank account by a paper currency as it is getting existed. And then I may have a separate thing. Bank account may remain same, just like a national pension system. In NPS, when I'm opening an account, I get a single ID, permanent retirement account number. But within that number, I get tier 1 as well as tier 2. So unless and until all the banks have the necessary software in their place, this particular thing would not go wider and global. Is it only the banks which need to do? No. Just take an example. They're continuing with earlier example. Now, instead of a cryptocurrency, I have to transfer some money to Deepa Sathe madam. Or Deepa Sathe madam has to transfer some money to me. Say just an honorarium, this particular station. I'm not reminding the organizers, but just giving an example. That if she is transferring that money to me, she is not convinced till the time her mobile clicks or flickers that blue tick mark and that fantastic music. Not only that, I'm also not convinced unless and until my mobile tells me the boss, Sathe madam, has transferred the money and it has been credited to my account. Immediately she checks with her banking account. Both of us are not content that her mobile has displayed, my mobile has displayed. She has sent me a screenshot of a recent transaction history to me. I'm not satisfied unless and until my bank sends me a SMS, as well as her bank sends her a message. So integration of a digital rupee with the back office of a system, along with a SMS or a telebanking provisions therein. You would realize that all the banks are having different and competing computing platforms or software platforms on which their things are concerned. That's why the technology comes into play. So back office development, back office maintenance, back office utilities, not only for core banking solutions, but even for phone banking and mobile banking solutions, unless and until it is universal, the digital rupee will not be. Cryptocurrency is not doing. Because if you need to have some sovereignty, you need to have certain safety features built thereinto. Or otherwise, 3 years down the line, 4 years down the line, whosoever may be the finance minister at that point of time will have to say the same thing, that we have unrolled or enrolled the digital rupee. There are some bit of a problem, but we are sure that I will be clearing it. Till then, I need to sell a concept. I need to sell the software. I need to sell the safety standards. And in order to sell, first I have to generate. And if I have to sell continuously, then not only I have to generate, but I have to maintain. Can all self-financing or autonomous colleges who have the freedom to decide their own syllabuses or design and implement the short-term professional courses where across the age group, across the gender group, for a short term, say for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, will they be able to conduct a professional examples or the courses for this? After all, both the organizers of my session today are from educational field. Is it an opportunity for them? Manish. If it is an opportunity for both organizers of mine today to conduct these courses, it is an opportunity for me across the age, because in the service sector, age is just a number. If you have the willingness, if you have the physical fitness and mental alertness, and if you have the tenacity to complete it, age doesn't matter. And service sector is not, education is nothing else but a service sector in this regard. Technology is nothing else but a service sector in this regard. And in order to make this, look at it. In order to make this, that's why there is an announcement in the budget. 75 digital banking branches would be established in 75 districts by the public sector banks. Because government is pushing them since 1988 when Rajiv Gandhi was our finance minister as well as the prime minister. And in that budget, Rajiv Gandhi ji has said at that point of time that henceforth banks in our country, especially the public sector banks in our country, have to ensure that they are garnering sufficient funds in the nature of a fee-based income rather than a fund-based income. Whether we are fructifying it? Because in a current era of a low interest rate, neither I can charge at a fantastic rate for industrial loan, nor I can offer because of that a fantastic deposit rate or interest rate from deposits. Under such circumstances, a margin between my loan interest rate and my deposit interest rate would be always a low margin. Under such circumstances, the fund-based banking becomes a game of volume rather than a game of margin. Whereas the income is always a game of volume as well as a game of margin. And that's why you would have seen just now when Dr. Ashok Agarwal sir has said that generally my predictions come true. Probably he was referring to one thing as far as this budget is concerned. Once I retired in May 2020, I had started my own YouTube channel in the name and style of Chandrasekhar Tilak. More than 3,600 subscribers have joined it. More than 250 videos have been uploaded and more than 2.3 lakhs views are there. You may treat this as a commercial break, but in the last week of January, I have uploaded one view or a video there. It is in English, Budget 2022 Expectations. And in that video, I have said that I am foreseeing some sort of a major banking change, this digital rupee and digital banking this time. Because it is going to be a game changer. So if you are a student, undergraduate student of banking, you will have to incorporate this, although my syllabus might not have. If you are a professional, you would have to look at it from this particular angle. But let us be very clear. Here the difference lies between a digital rupee and a cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency is an investment instrument, whereas digital rupee is a payment instrument. And there is no need to distinguish or elaborate upon a difference between an investment instrument and a payment instrument. To be honest, cryptocurrency is a trading instrument rather than an investment instrument. This is the crux of this matter. And now to a political color there for the students as well as all the participants. Why I said let us not say digital currency, our digital rupee, a cryptocurrency, is that all of you are aware, as I said earlier, that more than 170 types of cryptocurrencies are in vogue as far as global market is concerned. And out of that, 150 plus minus cryptocurrencies are in losses as of now. What was the trigger thereinto? That trigger was, as many of you might be aware, that China a few months back announced all of a sudden that henceforth China or China's internal market, Chinese internal market would not accept any cryptocurrency as a payment instrument as far as their commodity markets are concerned. And China is the biggest and largest commodity market player at a global level. So when such a ranked number one player says that I'm not going to accept a cryptocurrency as a payment instrument, because Chinese yuan as all of where is a paid currency and it is in limited circulation, and as such circumstances easily it cannot be accessed, and that's why they were doing it. We are going to, you have started putting a question. Okay, I will try that. Under such circumstances, Ameya, with your kind permission, we can do one thing. If they want to put their questions into the chat, let them put it when I am talking. If those are appropriate to the points which I'm covering, I will incorporate it during my deliberation itself. So we'll be able to entertain more questions at the end. I'm comfortable with it.
Okay, sir. Okay.
And they can put the question in any of these three languages, Marathi, Hindi, English. I will try to reply accordingly. You don't worry. But I will make you, because I have been told during introduction by a ma'am that there are many persons who are attending the courses from the abroad. Then I will restrict myself as far as the question is concerned, reply is concerned in English. But if you want me to reply in Marathi, I will do it. Okay, let us make it more interactive. Because even otherwise, speaking to a camera is a boring job rather than speaking to a person. Okay, jokes apart. Let us have a look at it. And these connotations is the hallmark as far as this budget is concerned. This budget is concerned. And that's why I said right in the beginning. See, what are the various connotations? These are dotted lines. And that's why I always say that budget is not only a matter of information, it is a matter of interpretation. And budget is not merely an economic document. It is a most important document of a political economy. And now political economy is going to be a career field rather than merely an economy. Faculty members would agree with me. And here the difference between a cryptocurrency and digital rupee comes into play. Cryptocurrency is a harbinger of an international political economy, whereas digital rupee is a safety mechanism of an international as well as a national currency. And there is a huge difference there. That's why this budget is important. Then I will narrate an instance why I am saying so, which is of a recent origin. It is not a coincidence. International politics में जिंदगी में कोई भी coincidence नहीं होता है. It's a prerogative of Marathi TV series or a drama or a Hindi movie. वहाँ ही से बिछड़े हुए भाई मिलते हैं या बिछड़ी हुई प्रिया जिंदगी के अंत में मिलती है. Reality में नहीं होता है ऐसा. But I'm not on that. You would realize that when China said all of a sudden that I will not be accepting a cryptocurrency as my commodity payment, all of a sudden the crisis fall. And then there were the losses in cryptocurrency. Such kind of a phenomena is not going to happen with a digital. Because that was the result, because China wanted to settle some ruffled feathers in international politics. After a corona, no one might be putting it into the words, but it's a reality of international finance and international politics. Just like after World War I and World War II, the trade blocks came into existence. Now some informal blocks are taking into place, China and other than China. China and its compatriots and other than China compatriots. And so China wanted to have a without China, other world can't work. And without other world, China can't work, because China is happened to be one of the big 5 economies of our country, of our world. And when investments towards China started drying up, that's why today we are becoming one of the favorite. I'm not saying the only favorite destination of foreign investment. That's why our economic survey of this year say that we are having $630 billion as my forex reserve, which is the highest ever in my independent. It is a result of it. And so this is our reply to Chinese mechanism. And that is not going to happen to my digital rupee. And how powerful that rupee is, try to understand. No one is going to tell you like this, but I'm taking this opportunity. And that's why I said no political color, only international and national economic color. Is it a coincidence that when the budget gets presented, on the next day itself, you get a news that Balochistan has attacked a major Pakistan military center and have killed more than 100 soldiers? All of us know who are the persons, or who are the Bolota Dhani, as we say in Marathi, as far as Pak and Balochistan is concerned. And that's why even without a remaining or waiting for Indian response, Pakistan government has already alleged that Balochistan attack is triggered by India. Because once this digital rupee comes into play, certainly the entire international commodity market would go away with, as far as the cryptocurrency entry in India is concerned. That's why I said, don't call it digital rupee a cryptocurrency of our country. The question of Mihir Gandhi is, will the digitization of rupee make it any easy for RBI to intervene in the forex market to manage the demand and supply of rupee? To be honest, that's not an intention. And Mihir, as you have specifically stated your year to education year to which you belong. I'm taking a liberty to call you Mihir, otherwise I would have called you Mihir, sir, for a protocol. Mihir, let me be very honest, it's not an intention. Because when you are buying, it would purely depend whether the currency or the country or the market player with whom I'm going to buy and sell this dollar or any international currency is ready to accept my digital rupee as a payment instrument. Let me be very honest, it's not the intention of a digital rupee as far as the price stabilization is concerned. The demand and supply of rupee national level can be curtailed by way of a digital rupee because that can circulate faster. But as far as the international market is concerned, digital rupee would not make a difference as far as RBI's this intention is concerned. Whether it would help to increase the rupee value, 101%. That was going to be my last point, and that's why I immediately jumped on this. So I will be able to carry forward my session. At the same time, you will get a feeling that I'm attending to your question. So it was a give and take kind of a thing. Yes. Why it would increase the value of a rupee? For one reason. And this is the concept which is getting underlined throughout this particular budget of 90 days. It might not have changed the taxation. It might not have changed the taxation slab, whether it is personal income tax, whether it is corporate tax, whether it is GST. In fact, these two words, personal income tax and corporate tax, are not uttered even once in the entire budget speech. But you would realize that value of any currency vis-a-vis any other global currency is decided not only by performance, but also by perception. And if we are able to launch our digital rupee before the end of March 2023, and if we are able to manage the balancing between a physical currency and a digital currency smoothly, then ours would be the first country to have both types of currencies. Then the perception about your capability goes up. Then it would be a testimony not only of our political resolve as a country, not only a testimony of a financial resolve being a regulator, but also the prowess displayed by the hardware, software, and network companies of our country. Then a huge software export or IT sector export would go up. Just take a classic example. In that case, my rupee value vis-a-vis other global currencies would go up. And how the perception matters takes a classic example. Just recently, Infosys developed with software for income tax website. Somehow there were problems. You would have seen that although Infosys has declared a good result compared to TCS, Infosys share prices, barring a few exceptions, have not shown that much commensurate rise. Whereas, once you heard the news that Air India has been completely handed over to Tata, and before that Tata won the bid, you would have seen the share prices, how they have spurred. As of now, TCS is not going to provide any software, not officially declared, to Air India. Neither the Tata Elxsi, another IT company from Tata Group, but the prices of both of them have surged. It is a matter of perception. So this perception would have. That was, in fact, going to be my last point as far as this digital rupee was concerned. Thank you very much, Mihir, for asking the question. If China is one of the largest commodity market all over the world, shall we have to adopt the policies like China? Boss, my personal opinion is we did not. In fact, we should learn that if they are going to close their doors too good, then it would stand in good stead for me. And in fact, it has stood in good stead for me, because if the corona would not have triggered in China, probably my medical industry would not have got developed. Probably many foreign direct investment, many foreign portfolio investors would not have turned their eyes to India. Now, even America may not be on the record, but you would have seen they have started helping us. Otherwise, they were more prone to China and Pakistan. So let us be very clear that we should not adopt a policy like China. At the same time, unnecessarily, we should not contradict China as well. Because leave aside a corona and a recent phenomena, if you have to become a 5 trillion economy, that means you are rising or increasing your status in a hierarchy of a global economy. Under such circumstances, you can't ignore China. A huge country, population-wise, geography-wise, and most importantly, industrial sector-wise. And you will agree with me, Bipin, that we are a service sector-dominated economy. So whom we will be able to give a service unless and until there is an industrial sector growth. As of now, for a few years, to be honest, since 2007, my industrial sector growth is stagnated in a particular band. So I have to depend on an industrial sector dominated economy. So I can convert China into an export economy. Under such circumstances, I can't adopt a China-like policy. So there is no need to act like a China-like policy. But as I said, we will have to keep a watch, because basic difference between China's company and our company is China's technology or Chinese methodology is use and throw, whereas our methodology is wash and wear. I hope I was able to make the point clear. And take a classic example. Another digitization or another salient point as far as this particular budget is concerned, that we have started exploring the income and employment opportunities in completely unconventional field. And as I'm addressing basically the students or my host being basically the educational institutions, let me start with that particular channel itself or that particular point itself. As Ashok Agrawal sir has said that last year I was not able to conduct a such session for Kaveri. But year before that, I had conducted a session in person at Kaveri. And Agrawal sir would agree with me and he would easily recollect that during our personal discussion over a cup of tea after the session, I had said at that time Corona was not there in place. But I had suggested to Agrawal sir, sir, have a look for the educational channels. Given your proficiency and the power of Kaveri, that would be a good source to look at. And I have been true, not only because of Corona, but it was a need of that. As far as this particular budget is concerned, there is a mention that as of date, we are having 12 education channels, but they are going to be increased to 100 education devoted channels. Right from standard 1 to standard 12, for all the subjects in all the languages recognized by our constitution, these channels should be available for imparting the education. Boss, if you are an entrepreneur, just imagine what sort of a course it is going to have. It is not only, especially when SkillSlate Ameya Agrawal is a co-partner of this particular program, I would like to elaborate, because he has already taken an initiative. Just imagine, sir, because of Corona, now we are conducting this online session, extrapolate it to a education channel. And wording is quite important. If you are so interested, go to the budget speech. Read that paragraph ad verbatim. Government has said, or a budget speech has made a mention that education channels as of date of 12 would be in the number of education channels which at present is 12. Government proposes to enhance it to 100 and to be run by a digital teacher, digital into university. Even otherwise, we have converted our professors and faculty members and teachers in a digital, because state government is very clear. जो क्लास में आ सके उनके लिए ऑफलाइन, जो ना आ सके उनके लिए ऑनलाइन, और दोनों साइमल्टेनियसली चलाओ. In order to take care of this aspect, now they are saying certain courses can be taught by a digital teacher. Just imagine, boss. I will give you a simile how it works or how it may work. Either if I'm so much a big entrepreneur, because I said I was told that many professionals are attending this course, just have a look at it. Can you enter into a tie-up with something? Because over there also the outsourcing is there. There are already so many channels. So you did not establish a new channel. But if you are able to do it, nothing like. Being an educational channel as a priority area for government, there may be some sort of a priority sector lending availability. If not, you can enter into a tie-up, say Kaveri Management Institute or a Kaveri College as an autonomous body can enter into an agreement, say with ABP Maza or G24, boss, you can run an education channel, I will do a content writing for you. For that, they need not employ the separate thing, because if they have to employ a teacher in a physical form, then there are requirements. If it is a primary teacher, then he has to be a B.Ed or a D.Ed. If she has to be a professor, then she has to clear a net set, has to be a PhD, and accordingly, they have to pay them the UGC pays or the pay commission pays. So the cost goes up like anything, and we do not know in initial stages how much response it would get. But if I enter into agreement and I'm ready to go for a digital teacher, digital doesn't mean that it has to be a robot speaking. No way. I can do somebody, as they say, Chandrasekhar Tilak, age of more than 60. So even otherwise, he is not looking for a full-time job. But given his expertise, if any one of you feel Shekhar is a good speaker or he is having a good voice, so I can lend a voice of mine, digital teacher. Someone can create a content of it, digital teacher. Someone can augment it or supplement with visuals. It is a need. Just take my own example. Deepa Sathe madam has sent me the flyer which is getting displayed just behind her on the screen. But I am such knave after spending 4 decades in IT industry that I was not able to put it. But boss, I can't. Today she was kind enough to say, sir, kai harkat nahi, tumhe aaye tasa bola. Tena mahiti nota kai yada manus hai. But that may not be holding true. So you will need to take help of this. You would have seen how much this particular industry works. In order to do that, this is digital teacher. So I have to run a course. So I have to develop a content, material content. I'm aware of it, sir. And many of you might have heard about the exams of NCFM exam, National Certificate for Financial Models. When I was heading the BP training division in NSDL, I have developed a study material or a question banks for at least 3 of their models. It is digital teaching. You would have seen that there is a demand. In a recent past, there were agitations and they said, we are ready to only go for online exam. In that case, you need to have a data set. In that case, you need to have a question bank. In that case, you keep on updating it. So it is a continuous opportunity. It is age neutral. It is a gender neutral. It is only service and serviceability positive. Just imagine what sort of a course we are going to have it. So if any one of you is a good teacher or in personal capacity conducting certain private classes, I know your generation is quite enthusiastic. And that the scope is right from standard 1 to standard 12. If it gets implemented, certainly, as just now when we were talking, we said, I suggested that can you have a separate session on a cryptocurrency? Or I said, just can you have some small crash courses on this? Education channels can be used. As all of us are quite aware that after Corona kind of a thing, all of us are using our own individual YouTube channels like anything. Once upon a time, Ameya Agrawal as well as my YouTube vendor had suggested to me, Chandrasekhar Tilak, why don't you do this? We will record one video of you. We will upload it into your YouTube. And then if anyone has subscribed to your channel, automatically he would get a intimation that you have uploaded a new video, but that video would be only a teaser where you can say that, boss, I'm coming out with a video on such and such topic of such and such duration. If you want to avail that particular service, then you have to pay me so much of money by way of a Google Pay, or in a future, you may say by way of a digital rupee. Once I have received that particular payment, I will give you the access for 48 hours by passing on a password and ID, which will be valid for 48 hours. I have said view only because then copyright would remain with me. Automatically after 48 hours, it would get vanished. Or even if you are trying to log into, my system would throw you out. This is digital. So content, software, hardware, network, cash monitoring, what sort of education and employment opportunities we are creating. Boss, when government says 60 crores employment, 60 lakh employment opportunities would be created, someone asked me on a channel, where from it would come? Arey boss, employment doesn't mean only employment in the industry, employment in the bank, employment in the insurance, employment in broking, employment in financial service. No, this is digital. I'm not joking. Boss, just see what has happened in 21 years or 21 months of Corona. It has given me a work from home concept. Therefrom, this digital teacher concept is coming into play. Because of this unduly hours of work from home, one has to get logged into the system at 7 o'clock in the morning, and that office hours goes up to 10:30. That is true even for the faculty members. Offline में पढ़ाओ, classroom में भी पढ़ाओ, online में भी पढ़ाओ. अरे घर का काम कब करूं? In that process, मैं ऑफिस तो नहीं जा रहा हूं, मगर इस प्रोसेस में घर ऑफिस बन गया और घर घर नहीं रहा है. And that's why many of you would agree with me who are in the service industry that many of us have started or opted for a voluntary retirement scheme. कि boss ये नहीं जमता है मेरे से. So the age is on their side, experience is on their side. They are on lookout for such jobs. Because you would have seen that this is shifting. It is not only for when you make a digital or a digitization as a password for this budget, mark one word, and this is my experience. When I said this in my YouTube channel way back in June 2020, many people laughed at me. I had predicted that point of time. Agrawal sir is aware of it, and that's why he made a mention. I said work from home is not merely a change of place. Work from home is merely a game changer. Take a classic example, and that's why the next industry is logistic in this. And logistic means every support, not only it is hotel. Take a classic example. And this precaution, government in this particular budget is distinguishing in it. All of us have heard the word Zomato and Swiggy. See how the digitization or a work from home concept changes the composition of a market. Zomato came out with IPO. It was a huge rage before LIC IPO. Any one of us who might not have entered a market before, but they have availed the services of Zomato and they wanted to apply for that. And when I said in my video as well as my training programs, कि मेरे पास पैसा होगा तो भी मैं Zomato में नहीं लगाऊं. They said, what nonsense you are. मैं बोला मैं पागल हूँ. मेरा तकदीर नहीं है प्राइमरी मार्केट में ऐसा समझो. But that was not the case. See, that man was saying, कि boss, I'm coming out with IPO because I want to cover my incurring operating losses. The word is incurring operating losses. If you would have said my losses incurred, I would not have taken. Operating losses is going to be the continuous feature unless and until I'm going to change a business model. He is coming from Tarlekar, तुमच्या ब्राह्मोसच्या प्रश्नाकडे शेवटी येतोय. Logistic नंतर defense industry. Okay, coming back. I hope I have sufficient time at my disposal. Can I take more than 10-15 minutes more than this if you don't?
Yes,
if you
sir.
permit me? Thank you. Thank
Yes,
you.
sir. Please, sir. Please.
Then let me continue with the point. Tarlekar, if I forget, then just remind me 1 second. Okay. Let me be very clear. See, this is where the government, this type of example, I'm just correlating it with a recent example. What sort of a business model Zomato is having? They pick up from a collecting point, collect the money for the charges for the same upfront, and deliver it to the user. Zomato is having 70% of business of our country with that. So monopoly or almost a majority stake as far as the business is concerned. Collecting the money upfront, that means no chances or fear of non-performing asset or a bad debt. And even then, when they are incurring the losses, that means business model outset need to be changed. What was the need? Very clear. That earlier, if Zomato was picking up, say, 1,000 tiffins from a hotel on any given day, prior to Corona, out of that, at least 60% they were delivering it to, if not to the same office, to the same business complex. Now, when these 100 people are serving from their work from home, their delivery points has gone up from 60 to at least 80. So my transportation cost goes up. And then people said it is not working. And that's why Swiggy came out with a thing that if I have to deliver something from my residence to Deepa Sathe Madam's residence, and if I have to, we both of us are staying in the same city, then they would be picking up this and delivering it to Deepa Sathe Madam. If nothing else, at least the Ratha Saptami is not over, so I can send her a Tirigulu if both of them are staying in the same city. This particular business we called C2C. But when you are moving from B2C model to a C2C model, your logistic cost goes up. And over here, digitization comes in. So if my business model is tuned to it and government is giving you this opportunity, it needs to be understood. It needs to be understood. It is not happening only with Zomato. It is not happening only with Swiggy. Is it the same case as far as our networks are concerned? I'm not saying that we as a country or a national economy were not using network. No, not at all. We were using. But before Corona, when all of us were working from the offices, even if we were having one single Wi-Fi connection at my home, it was more than sufficient. And majority of the usage was in corporate area or in a commercial area. But in last 21 months, where we are using a work from home extensively, and there is every likelihood that it would at least coexist in 2-3 years further, we may start attending the office, but it may be intermittently. It may be by rotation. Then you would have realized that the usage of work or network at domestic area has gone up. Because from a single family, husband is getting connected from one room to his office. From another roof, wife is getting connected. If there are two sons or 2 kids at home of different age going to the schools and colleges, then they are getting connected. If it's a joint family and they are having a senior citizens aged 62 like Chandrasekhar Tilak, then that senior man in his own home is sitting in a living room as if he is waiting in an OPD of a doctor. And if he is conducting another online session just like me, then even if you take 3 Wi-Fi connections at a single residence, it is not sufficient. Where my exposure has gone up. And even now government is saying that whether it is education, whether it is crash courses, whether it is collaboration, not only formal, but even in informal education, adopt the online model. Is it digitization? Completely unconventional sources of income. And all these come under IT sector lending. Can my investment pattern undergo a change? I'm completely restricting myself from interpreting it from the viewpoint of an equity market or an investment, because majority of the participants today are students. And it's not that students are not investors nowadays. Now let me go to the question where, okay, Abhijit Singh has asked me whether what would be my advice to students already invested in cryptocurrency but are facing restrictions posed by government on accepting as a legal form of investment. Extremely sorry, Mr. Abhijit Singh, you are asking this question to a completely wrong person. Because throughout my life, I had been a compliance and vigilance man rather than an investor. So my 2 questions to you. First of all, who asked you to invest in cryptocurrency when it was not accepted as a mode of payment or a mode of instrument or investment in my country? And second, government is already on the record. If you see today's newspaper, our finance secretary has already clearly said that under no circumstances we are going to accept cryptocurrency as a mode of instrument. So my humble advice to you, if you are already invested in a market of a cryptocurrency, as and when opportunity is provided to you, please come out of it. Because there is a maxim in an investment field that when you are not in a position to maximize the profit, at least minimize the loss. Be rest assured that if government is time-boundly duty-bound or a compliant as far as the intention of coming out with a digital rupee is concerned, certainly till the time digital rupee stabilizes in our country, whosoever may be in a political power of our country, cryptocurrency is not going to be accepted as a formal instrument of payment or investment in our country. Because last 30 years we have witnessed no political color. Please, purely as a student of finance, economics, and investment. Just observe, we initiated the economic reforms in 1991. Today we are in 2022. We have seen the central governments of a various political color, but our economic policy has not taken a U-turn. The priorities might have changed, but we have not taken a U-turn. So this is 100%. See, leave aside a political halla-gulla. It's their business to be in halla-gulla. Otherwise, how people would notice that? But economy always works silently because it is never overnight. Whereas politics always work by halla-gulla. So cryptocurrency is a halla-gulla. So my advice would be to coming out of. Next, defense. And that would be the last point from my side. And then I will be open for all the questions if I have not already answered. One of the best industry I would have. And Agrawal sir would agree with me, or any other faculty member who had attended my session 2 years back. I have said, in companies related to defense, both on a policy front, and on a performance front. Performance front, because they were picking up. And government is fantastically and pleasantly choosy as far as capital market entries, extent and timing, both of defense sector companies are concerned. Take classic example. In calendar year 2021, we raised more than 1.21 lakh crore from a primary market, but there was a single government company called Mazgaon Dock, as far as IPO was concerned. And what is the performance of Mazgaon Dock as a share? That is the only share who has consistently given you the market price above the price band at which their IPO came. It never gave you the dividend, but yet it has always given you a stable or a rising prices. So it's a chance of capital appreciation. Where from it comes? Completely from the government push towards defense. Till now, or till 20th of March 2020, that is the date when our Honorable Prime Minister addressed the nation at 8 o'clock in the night. And since then, whenever we come to know that our Honorable Prime Minister is going to address a nation at 8 o'clock, all of us are concerned ki bhaiya ye naya chakkar kya aayega. If his mitron gets prolonged, then something is in the offing. Completely in a lighter way. Because in that speech of 20th of March 2020, he announced that first ever 3-week long lockdown. But during the same speech, he made a mention of Atmanirbhar. Defense is a complete success story of Atmanirbhar. He announced during that particular phase that in coming 5 years in 2020, that means up to 2025, we would reach a stage where at least 75% of a production, wording is at least 75% of my defense requirement would be produced indigenously. And this is more important. So this is one-time exercise that slowly I'm going up, building up. If I'm building up, there has to be a market for it. Under such circumstances, he said, henceforth, to the tune of 200 crore dollar requirement at any given point of time. That is single instance. No global tenders, only local tenders. That means we will not be buying it from foreigners. We will be buying it from domestic industry. $200, that means 14,000 crore rupees at one point of time. And if we are under the impression that army buys only arms, ammunition, tanks, no, they have to run the army colonies. They have to run the army boats. They have to run the army cantonments. So they need the car. They need the uniforms. They need the food. They need the salad. They need the fruits and vegetables. I'm not joking. WhatsApp University has circulated many messages about that. I'm not on that because I'm not sure how reliable WhatsApp University is. And I am a KG fail as far as WhatsApp University is concerned. You are all our PhDs thereof. So I did not make a mention of it. But just see, till then, we as a country were looking at defense more as protection of my national borders. Whereas now we have seen that that basically the Mazgaon dock, the single submarine producer of our country, received the order from central government for production of 7 submarines. All of us are aware what is the costing of 1 submarine. Central government at a given point of time has given us order of a 7 submarine. Submarine is not built overnight. It takes years together. It is a capital intensive as well as a labor intensive industry. And not only central government of my country, but of late 3 different countries have given an order for submarines. All of us have read, and one of you asked a question in a chat box, that 7 different countries amounting to 170 BrahMos has been ordered. Boss, what sort of a business proposition we are looking at? And 100% we are saving on. And it is getting reflected into the performances. Not true for Mazgaon dock. Not only it is true for Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. Not only it is true for BDL, BEL, HAL. It is true for even the private sector players of our country. Tata Motor is the biggest supplier to defense. Bharat Forge is the biggest supplier to the defense. Eicher Motors is the biggest supplier to the defense. And as soon as we said that 14,000 crores at a single point of time, only local tender, you would have seen the performance of Tata Motors. Tata Motors in their recent balance sheet, they said that on a standalone basis, I am in profit, or at least not in loss. But on a cumulative basis or a consolidated basis, I am in loss, because that Jaguar legacy continues when it comes to a consolidated one. Standalone means India national operations, they are in profit. And you will see the spurt in the share prices of Tata Motors. So defense Atmanirbhar is certainly a success story as far as our country is concerned. It is not that only defense is a success story. This budget has also, they have taken the temerity of saying, I'm not going to change the income tax rate. There was no surprise when they said that there is no change of a GST rate, because central government can't do it. The GST council has to do it. But that's not the case with the personal income. There was a huge discussion before the presentation of a budget that personal income tax would be done away with, expenditure tax would be introduced. As they have introduced a digital rupee, expenditure tax is equally tech savvy and tech integrate part. And that's why they have not undertaken 2 things. Point number 1. Point number 2, one thing was very clear, that even in a given budget or a current budget, more than 30% of a government income, I have not used the word revenue, government income comes from loans, because we have undertaken various expenses in last 21 months. And more than 20% of a government expenditure goes towards the installment of payment loan and the interest thereon. Under such circumstances, even if you and I would have been a finance minister or a prime minister of a country, we could not afford to do away with a personal income tax. What does it mean? That government is straightway telling me that please take utmost care of your major and regular source of income, because personal income tax contributes more than 15% of a regular income. Every month, government has done that. Okay. You are still not out of cryptocurrency so far, but I have already told you. So Meeta Dandekar has asked me a question, what is your take on the GDP rate at 9%? Is it too optimistic? Yes, it is optimistic. But Meeta madam, I have a counter question to you. What is wrong in being optimistic? I'm not posing this counter question because I'm a born BJP voter and going to be so till death. No. Probably I am optimistic because my surname is Tilak, so it doesn't allow me to be negative. My birth sign is the Gemini, so by birth I am optimistic. I had my entire career in financial services, so unless and until I am optimistic, I would not have completed 4 decades of financial services. And most importantly, I am married for the last 35 years. So unless and until I would have been optimistic, I would not have been able to survive and thrive in my married life. But that's not a question. See, ma'am, let us look at it. Leave aside political. You must have, as you have raised this question, you must have already read a news at least, if not a IMF report, IMF's record, not Chandrasekhar Tilak, or not Mita Dandekar, or not a prime minister or finance minister of our country. It is IMF. And certainly it is not run and dictated by Indian government, whosoever may be in power. They have their own independent mind, sometimes prejudicial, but they have their own independent mind. And IMF has said, IMF has predicted that 9% growth rate is possible for India. But even then, while presenting the economic survey, Sunil Sanyal has said that although others are saying 9%, we are saying in the next year we will grow by 8 to 8.5%. Because ours is the only country who in a calendar year 2021, I'm saying calendar year because international year is a calendar year, we only follow a financial year from April to March. And that's why that cutoff is December. 2021, India is the only country whose GDP growth rate has shown a positive growth rate. No other country in the world, including China, has shown. And it is witnessed on two things, which Madam, you would agree and recollect that in a quarter of April to June 2020, immediately after imposition of a lockdown, our GDP growth rate was minus 24%. Whereas 1 year down the line in the quarter of April to June 2021, my GDP growth rate was plus 3%. So plus 3% is nothing. But if we see that it has moved from minus 24 to plus 3, that shows my tenacity. And even then, we have given certain riders, we have given them certain assumptions that monsoon would be normal. There will not be any irregular monsoons because 2021 was not only the year marred by Corona, but that is one calendar year, even in India, right from the month of January till December, every month, at least for a 1 day, it has rained in our country. Two of my ex-colleagues were planning to go to England for their further studies as they have taken a sabbatical. They were planning to take a sabbatical. So just now, very recently, I was telling them in a lighter vein, boss, there is no need for you to go to England. We have now brought England climate to our country because it is also raining over here. So that's why absence of abnormal monsoon, irregular monsoon, and normal monsoon, point number one. Point number two, petrol remaining geopolitical nature of budget. Petrol remaining in a price band of $70 to $75. I will add one more point. $70 to $75 per barrel is cost of acquisition. In a recent past, we have realized that besides the cost of acquisition for petrol, cost of logistics also matters. Because as soon as Taliban took control of Afghanistan, they said that you will not be allowed to use my roadways, portways, and airways. Then the entire transport has to take a D route if I'm importing it from Gulf countries. And most importantly, if we have not to impose any further restriction. And if we are able to do that, because something is within my hand, something is not within my hand. Point number one. Point number two. Boss, if we are able to take a stand, as European countries have taken, including England, although England is not a part and parcel of European Union. All of you must have read it into the newspaper because that was the big news, flashed like anything, even in a social media and electronic media, that European countries have taken stand, that henceforth no more economic restrictions. In fact, they are going to the extent of saying no vaccination, no masks. If anyone is detected of a corona, it can be seen at that point of time. If we are able to have that and consistency as far as restrictions and relaxations are concerned, what we have witnessed, it was the need of that. I'm not blaming anyone. That I'm starting an educational institute today. After 2 days, they are saying we are going back. Ask your faculty members, principals, vice principals. Mukta Karmarkar madam would agree with me. Once government advised them to get your campuses sanitized. Even before the students arrived, they are saying we are not allowing you to conduct the classes in classrooms. Where if that is true for education institute, it is equally true for manufacturing. Because neither I can order for my raw material, nor I can dispatch my finished goods. Then where from my economic cycle? Point number one. Point number two, madam, let us look at it. It's a matter of global perception. If I on my own start saying, बाबा कोरोना से बहुत मारा गया हूं, भाई इससे नॉवेल बन सकती है, नेशनल इकोनॉमी नहीं बन. then people will say you yourself is not confident, and why I should keep a faith in you. Madam, when you are turning out to be one of the favorite, I'm not saying the only, one of the favorite destination of FII, you have to put up a brave front and say, boss, yes, I'm like that. Ma'am, as if you can understand Marathi, there is a saying in Marathi, बोलणाऱ्याची बोरं ही विकली जातात, न बोलणाऱ्याचं सोनं ही विकलं जात नाही. तर मला तर बोलून बोरं कशाला, मी $630 बिलियन मिळवली आहे. Then I have to stand up front. It's just like that. Otherwise, Duckworth-Lewis ratio can take place with me. Point number one, because it's a matter of perception. Just take a classic example. If I want to really become a 5 trillion economy, I was knowing this kind of a question would come. And that's why I ignored the earlier question asked in a chat box. What would happen to 5 trillion? 5 trillion is just a mark. Whenever any academic year starts, I don't know whether it happens to your generation or not, because I don't have that courage to tell it to my 2 sons at home. Because they were, being my sons, their surname was also Tilak. So freedom is their birthright and they are enjoying it. So even if I would have asked them, ki boss, पिछले साल में आपको इतना mark मिला है, इससे ज़्यादा mark मिला, so they would come out with the mark sheets when I was the student, and it would have been a pathetic case for me. But that's not true for a global economy. Just imagine that if I have to become a 5 trillion, that means I'm assuming and accepting that as of date, I'm not a 5 trillion economy. That means for the years to come, I'm saying my GDP growth rate on an incremental basis or year-on basis should go up. So I would be able to achieve that 5 trillion. Under such circumstances, I will have to accelerate my economic activity. For that, I have to keep on loans. And that's why I said government major source of income is loan. If you are an entrepreneur and you are going to a bank to ask for a loan, bank doesn't ask only for your last 3 years balance sheet. They ask for the next 3 years projection as well. Because bank officer says, boss, मैं उसको नया लोन अभी दूं तो उसका लोन इंस्टॉलमेंट आएगा, उसका पे इंटरेस्ट पेमेंट आएगा, इंटरेस्ट ऑन इंटरेस्ट बाद में आता है, पहले इंटरेस्ट पेमेंट तो आएगा. It's an additional expenditure to him, whether he earns a profit or not. So at least he would have to have that much additional income, which will take care of this additional expenditure. Under such circumstances, I do project a business. When I'm in a global market calling for FII, FPI, FDI, and then I say, "Bhai, to nahi badunga, to kaun paisa dega tumko?" That's why it may sound optimistic, but to be honest, if you ask me, it is not that optimistic. Because unconventional fields are opening up. Unconventional sources are opening up. Just take a madam. I will give you one classic example. You have to keep on trying. In economy, nothing happens overnight. When in 2003, then Prime Minister of our country, Atal Bihari Vajpayee, in a conference said that I, being a Prime Minister of my country, would like to urge to all the Gulf OPEC countries, that is oil producing and exporting countries, that they should really think of channelizing their priorities as far as the payment receivables are concerned. He was not asking for any moratorium. No, not at all. He just suggested, can they consider, if not fully, at least partially, accepting the petro payments, not only in petrodollars, but other kind. Nothing happened till 2011. In 2011, then Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh was able to break the ice, and they said, some portion I will accept in rupee. And since then, we are slowly increasing that component. Then we added in 2016, some part in rice, drinking water, and desalination project. If I'm going to absorb or make them aware, क्योंकि उनको भी कहीं तो कहीं बेचना है ना, कि भाई कहीं some part I will give in petrodollars, I will give some part in rupee, and other I will start exporting you vaccines, you need it, sanitizers, you need it, socks, you need it. So my demand for dollar will go down and the demand for my national product would go up. Then GDP is what? A collection of national sources of expenditure as well as income. Just imagine, ma'am, I'm not joking, because till now in the entire budget, and that is my last point, we were talking about the conventional sources of income and conventional sources of expenditure. Just like a unique case of a defense export, we have seen the channelization and commercialization. Ishan, corporate tax reduced to a sugar industry, I purposely didn't cover. Because let me be very clear, sugar is a political product. It belongs to an agriculture department, and nothing against the political product. But agriculture is one thing which only central government can't control. State governments do have a say. So besides the corporate tax, if we are able to convert their additional capacities to production of ethanol and it getting diverted and converted into a usable energy for automobile, that now efforts would be reduced, because the entire emphasis nowadays is on electric vehicles. So we are not an alternate energy. And pricing of sugar is another political product. So that's why I didn't touch upon it, but to some extent, yes, for a temporary phenomena, it would have some boost, at least from the perception point. Okay, going back to the topic of which I was discussing, and as I have promised, that would be the last point from my side. Another unconventional sources which has really come into play is the usage of ISRO-like facility. One of the major but a silent contributor to the status of $630 billion and slowly increasing periodically of ISRO services. 2 years back, there was a mention that private players would be allowed to make use of R&D facilities and testing facilities of ISRO. Now, ISRO has really gone ahead with forming a special purpose vehicle, and launching of satellites on the behalf of other countries is turning out to be a major source of income. I will give you one example and conclude. And that's why this budget, when you talk about digitization, it means over here. In 2014, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, when visited ISRO, it was an occasion when at that point of time, on 1st of June 2014, ISRO launched 18 satellites in a single day. It was a national record. In 2019, again, Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited ISRO. The occasion was 117 satellites were launched in a single day. And that was a global record. Out of these 117 satellites, 102 satellites were launched on behalf of 14 different countries. And it was not a free of cost. It was not a charity. For each and every satellite, at different 9 stages, for different 9 kind of services, we were able to collect the money, and that too in a forex. Faculty members would agree with me, agriculture was one of the major beneficiaries. Agriculture researches and agriculture universities were the major references. Because out of these 102, 88 were related to monsoon monitoring based on agriculture. So we as a country suggested, and that's why during that phase, you would have seen that whenever Prime Minister was on foreign tour, majority of the times the bureaucrats and officials were more in number than the journalists. That's why a huge hue and cry. But these bureaucrats, many of them were coming from this research and agriculture ministry of ours. And we suggested to them, as it is related to a monsoon monitoring, because many countries in the world are dependent on a monsoon for their agriculture income and agriculture produce, just like us. And that's why we said, okay, we will do the study of your product composition, your soil composition, your water composition, your water requirement. That got a fillip for agriculture university. So per se, it is ISRO, but it results in so many multifarious phases. And this is the potential of unconventional. And this entire budget is trying to give a boost. I'm using the word trying because, as I said, government is an enabler. Government is not a doer. Doers are you and I. And if it is any money issue from this budget, is that we are ready to open the field, irrespective of age, irrespective of gender, irrespective of source. One thing is clear. If anything is interest-based, I'm not going to enhance the interest, whether it is a deposit or a debenture. But if you need some assured income, I'm ready to give you a green bond. I'm ready to give you a new opportunity. If you want to have a cyclical income, be a digital teacher. If you want to have a regular income, be an entrepreneur. I will be with you. When you say that I'm not changing the tax too often, I'm giving you assurance that my tax rate should remain stable. So my business planning becomes easy. So given a longer run, I'm with you. So if you are a IRCTC, whose product is age neutral, gender neutral, product neutral, system driven, and least chance of NPA, economy would be mine. Then madam, my GDP growth rate is never optimistic. And as I said, let us hope it on a good note. Why to say bad? One thing is very clear. Two things willy-nilly have been taken cognizance in. And for a commerce and finance student, this is going to be a game changer. All the faculty members would agree with me. Very recently, one report has been published, which says that for the first time at a national level, the birth rate and the sustenance rate of a female employees of our society have gone up, and it is more than male employees. It is going to change the composition. Another report says that not only new persons have started entering the equity market, but amount invested in equity related instrument is at the highest level of 15%. That clearly shows that in the days to come, as a commerce student, I have to be very clear, or a finance student, very clear that henceforth interest related instruments will never be encouraged. It would be always a market related instruments. With these words, I would like to conclude the session. Chitrali Kumboskar has said, can you tell me what you think on the gender budget of this year? Is account to what I have read, the budget has increased, but there is a marginal decline in the expenditure. Okay, ma'am, if I have understood your question correctly, you are talking about the specific project. 101% the expenditure has gone down. But it is not because that particular agency was not ready to give that money. But you would realize that because of this consistent lockdown of last 21 months, many of the projects and many of the activities could not be undertaken. And if activity is not undertaken, under such circumstances, the money would remain unspent. And that's why that expenditure has gone down. Because allocation is on ad hoc basis, where expenditure is always on real basis. As we count in income tax, actual or accrual. So income is on accrual, but expenditure is on actual. Because of that, it is happening so. Suraj Sardeshmukh has asked that he has passed the equity derivative exam conducted by SEBI. Trading in index option. I want to make career in option trading. Please suggest structural learning for trading specialty derivatives. I could reply, Sujay, this question in two ways. Number one, and fantastic professional answer. This is out of syllabus as far as the topic for the day is concerned. Second, personal and more, as you are in a derivative, you would realize that as far as derivatives are concerned, it is always margin triggered. So unless and until margin in the form of my commercial fee is fed to me, I will not be able to complete your transaction because it is not covered in curriculum. But let me be very honest. There are various courses as far as the futures are concerned. Even in NISM, there is a course for advanced future and certain professional bodies are doing it. But the best course would be if you are able to do some sort of an internship or with one of a broking firm who is basically concentrating on derivatives and having exposure to commodity market as well. Because you would agree with me that interplay with the commodity market understanding for making a career in derivatives is much more, not only because commodity market transactions are majority of them are in derivative product compared to the equity product, but in derivatives, the margins getting triggered at commodity market would help you. What is your opinion on heavy trade deficit with China? Do you think India was slow in building the active pharmaceutical ingredients manufacturing? 101%. No doubt about it. I can't say that we were slow. One thing is very clear. Let us be very honest. We are service sector dominated. And even if you try for next 10 years, we will be always in trade deficit with China. For two reasons. As I said during my deliberation in a different context, China is an industry sector dominated economy. And always a demand for an industrial product is continuous. We are a service sector dominated economy. And the demand for a service product is always cyclical. So you can't compare a continuous demand with a cyclical demand. So at least for next 10 years, on any field, we will be in a trade deficit. And when you talk about a trade deficit, another issue is the law clauses which China adopt or reportedly adopt is much different. Sometimes being a democratic country hurts your interest more, especially related to the labor law. Your views on LIC IPO. My both parents are working in LIC, so they are saying it is going to be a very big IPO after Reliance IPO. Ma'am, whether your parents are working in LIC or not, they are nearing my age. They must be more than 50 years of age at this juncture. And ma'am, my entire generation is LIC dominated generation. Once it is said that that is being issued by LIC, with blind eye we sign the document. But we don't have that much of a faith. But even otherwise, LIC is going to be a big IPO. And 101%, it is going to be a success. In fact, LIC IPO as a product would be a good topic for another session, because it is not only the big IPO, it is introducing various new facilities. And if it clicks, that would be followed by all other PSU disinvestment. And entire merchant banking activities and capital market regulations will undergo change. It would be a success. I have no issues about it. Okay, last question I will take. Why the government decided to take a conservative tax and expenditure figure in National Budget 2022? Simple reason. I have already explained it to you. My entire income and expenditure is dependent more on a global factor which are beyond my control. So there was no other goal than to take a conservative view, point number one. And another politics thereof could be that we are under compulsion because of FRBM provision as well as the global perspective. I have to keep my deficit under control. And that's why against 6.5, I am at 6.9 kind of a wording were there. And so if I have to predict that, I have to be conservative on expenditure. Because after Corona effect, people have become much more sensitive. That was the reason. Yes, it is conservative, no doubt about it. But these were the triggers behind it. I hope I have been pakawing you for much more time than required. So if you don't mind, I would like to do, okay, PLI scheme and all the industry promoting scheme. Ma'am, it will be a too lengthy answer. So for the paucity of time, I would avoid that answer. Because there are
we can do all these things.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
What is your opinion on 60 lakh jobs? I have already explained that. Over to you, madam. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Before 1 minute, but before that, before I hand over the mic back to the faculty members or the organizers of this event, my humble request to all the participants, whether student or any other category, feel free to give your free and frank feedback to the organizers, both Kaveri as well as the SkillSlate, and request to all these organizers that pass it on to me ad verbatim. So even if they are negative, so that would give me some opportunity to keep on carrying on the necessary changes. Certainly would love to meet you again if possible in person or otherwise online as well, because there are advantages of online sessions. So many more persons irrespective of a geographical barrier can join. But it was really a matter of pleasure and honor for me to address such a huge and interactive gathering. Too good a quality of a participation. Kudos to you all and wish you all the best for the financial calendar year 2022. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Ameya, with your permission and sir, our principal sir and our vice principal madam, with your permission, should I propose vote of thanks and take a just review of what sir has conducted the session on different topics?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Madam, I think please don't take review because the hangover is there in the minds of participants. So need not take review. Let
Okay,
us
sir.
be in the hangover.
Just before the vote of thanks, I would like to request all the guests and the dignitaries to turn on their cameras. We can have a quick virtual photograph before we move on to the vote of thanks session. Guys, turn on your cameras as much of you possible for you guys. Please turn on your cameras. For those, it is possible to turn on your cameras. Kindly turn on your cameras fast so we can have a quick photograph with Tilak sir. Me. I hope we have accommodated maximum number of people. Just a second. Okay, smile everyone. Just a minute, just a minute. Let me take one more photograph. We will just swap a couple of people so other can get a chance as well. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Over
Thank
to
you very much.
Deepanal. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Ameya. Thank you, Tilakji.
Thank you. Can I
Thank
leave
you,
the screen?
Narayanji. Thank you, Sudhakar Raoji.
Can I leave the meeting now with your permission?
Let me just do the formal part of
Yeah.
concluding
Sorry.
of this session.
Yes.
Sir,
Sorry.
no, sir, it's okay, sir. There are really many takeaways, major takeaways, and because of the time constraint, I'll just avoid sharing my takeaways during this particular session. I thank Dr. Narayan Hegde, sir, Vice President, Kaveri Group of Institutes, Kannada Sangha, for gracing this occasion and giving his continuous support for such many national level workshops. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Take this honor and great opportunity to thank our today's keynote speaker, Shri Chandrasekhar Tilak sir. You really touched upon so many topics, and you encouraged the budding teachers, academicians, and entrepreneurs, students, that what career opportunities we have into different sectors in the capacity of a student as well as investor. So thank you, sir. Thank you for your gracious presence and sharing such a great insights through this session. I thank Sudhakar Rao, sir. Sir, thank you for your presence during this entire 2 hours time. On behalf of Kaveri College, I express my gratitude for your gracious presence. And of course, last but not least, the great support extended by SkillSlate Foundation, Mr. Ameya. Thank you for your help. And that particular photo session was wonderful. We could feel that we are sitting in our Shakuntala Jagannath Shetty auditorium and enjoying this as good as a physical, platform. Otherwise, we would have attended. Thank you for extending that support. And all the participants, delegates, investors, academicians coming from different institutions, pan-India, for your initiative in attending this session. Sir, we have hit almost 450 plus participants on the Zoom platform. And I definitely expect many such thousands views on our YouTube channel. Sir, thank you for your support. And we do remember your 2020 session, sir. And that time you have declared so many possibilities, and we could witness that in this span of 2 years. So thank you once again. With your permission and the dignitaries' permission, can we conclude for today's session?
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank
Let us
you.
meet
Thank
again.
you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much, sir.
Thank
so much.
you. Thank you, everybody. Chalo, let us meet again.
Thank
Kaveri,
Okay.
thank
Thank you,
you.
Just a small announcement for all the participants. The certificates to all the participants will be issued by 7th of February. It will be sent on your emails. So kindly wait till 7th of Feb, and we will also circulate a mail once we send the certificates. In the meantime, if you guys are yet to register for the e-certificates, I have shared the link in the chat box, and I will again share it on the email as well as the WhatsApp group. So kindly register for the e-certificates by today itself, so we can have a count, and we can start the process of issuing e-certificates. Again, thank you so much, guys, for this wonderful response and wonderful participants from you all. And see you soon again in next programs, and such amazing concepts will be taken to you in front of you all soon. Thank you so much, all. Have a very good day ahead. Thanks a lot.
Just one more declaration. During this session, sir has suggested various topics. So your feedback, participants, your feedback and suggestion do matter to us. The link is already shared in the group. So that itself will give an encouragement for us to, schedule various seminars and sessions on different topics, which will come from the experts like Tilak sir. So please feel free to quickly give us the feedback so that we can arrange various programs. Thank you. Thank you to Ashok Agrawal sir, our principal sir, and Dr. Mukta Karmarkar madam, our vice principal, to always encourage us and give us that confidence that we can have various such sessions at national level. Thank you so much. Thank you. So with your permission,
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Sudhakar Raoji. Thank you, Narayan ji. Thank you, SkillSlate and MTC Global.
Okay. So, sir, can we conclude the meeting?
Yeah.